Dominique is probably more Marco in my kind of, I would say I'm more radical in approach.
Welcome back. I'm Karima, aka the Blurred Girl. This is another episode I have about The Expanse. This interview is with Dominique Tipper, who plays Naomi Nagata, and Keon Alexander, who plays Marco Inaros. Now, if you watch the show, then you already know that the Belters, not being from either Earth or Mars, are caught between both planets' empires and are often exploited. As we saw at the end of season 4, Marcos is the new self-appointed leader of the Belters, who sets out to unite the factions of his own people for a common cause: war with the Inners. Both Earth and Mars are in for a fight. Now, Naomi, also a Belter, has a son with Marcos, Philip, but she hasn't seen him since she was forced to leave them years ago. This is a really interesting conversation about their characters, about being an unseen majority, and how much this show parallels real life, especially in 2020. Enjoy. Naomi starts the season so confident. In fact, even her Creole is stronger. What's it like looking at her character growth since season 1?
Oh my God. I mean, I think what's really exciting is, like, you know, if you've watched the show, we've been planting seeds since season 1 that very much lead up to the events of season 5. And so I think, you know, what's quite sad is like you say, at the top of season 5, she's the most settled we've seen her. Like, her and Holden, they're in a good place. They're in their apartment. They're like chill. And then she goes off on this journey that is, you know, mining into her past, her very kind of traumatic and dark past that kind of just upends everything. And I think it's interesting. I think in terms of her journey, we've never seen Naomi in the state that we see her in season 5. We've never seen her that vulnerable. We've never seen her that off kilter in the way that I think Marco, with the hold he has over her. And also, we've never seen her with her son. We've never seen her as a mother. And I think she's not been a mother. So also watching her try to navigate this new relationship with a young man that doesn't know her and she doesn't know, and her naivety going into it is just like, well, it's so tough to watch, but also I think makes for some really good, for some really juicy stuff this season.
Absolutely. You know, your connection with Philip is obviously comes with this connection to Marco. Now, Keon, we got an introduction to this character last season, and the Belters are basically the most discriminated group of people in the galaxy. So he's well within his rights to be upset at what's going on and want to lead his people, but his methods, right? So how do you see Marco? Is he a hero or is he a villain?
I don't actually have that V word in my lexicon. I think that if we were to look back in history, everyone that we consider in our history books that we're taught about as heroes, if we were to look at the path that it took them to get to those momentous historic events that we still feel the ripples from now, if we saw everything that led to that, it would probably be pretty damn dirty. And we don't really talk about that. We don't really learn that, but it takes a lot personally and strategically to get something done. And I think that obviously within our systems of organization, we will mostly be taught about the ones that are more peaceful or the ones that don't rock the boat so much. But as we all know, and as 2020 is especially bringing to light for a lot of people who may have been unaware before, there are systemic problems. There are structural injustices that are built into the way that we run things. And if we turn a blind eye to that, we turn a blind eye to huge portions of the population who feel neglected, dispossessed, and not accounted for, taken care of by the system. And so at a certain point, we have to make a decision. Are we going to stay with the status quo and protect what exists, or are we willing to shake things up and make some moves that may cause some short-term harm, but may be able to restructure things for us? And I think that same principle applies to the human being individually and to the society. Like, are you willing to go through short-term upheaval in order to create real change? Or are you not wanting to rock the boat, and so we'll just do little baby steps and just give lip service to certain things? And this is really at the forefront in 2020, isn't it? Like, we have to answer that question for ourselves. Are we willing to go there? And Marco is willing to go there. Marco really believes in the possibility of justice, and Marco believes that it's worth doing whatever it takes to get there. And that's the thing that divides him from Naomi, and he pays the price for that. But I really understand his drive, because I think that a lot of the heroes that we look to in history had to make certain sacrifices as well.
No, absolutely. And I also look at Marco and Naomi as two sides of the same coin. Uh, Naomi's character sort of, as a belter, she's had to make so many choices. She's always sort of code switching, like wherever she needs to be, she has to represent something. What's it been like for you in terms of all those choices and trying to find an identity, this character trying to find an identity?
It's very interesting because I'm biracial, I'm mixed race, Black. And so what's been very quite lovely to explore for me, without it actually being about being mixed race, is this idea of occupying an in-between space, of not really leaning into anyone's idea of what one should be. And I think for Naomi, for her, she's always being kind of asked if she's the right kind of belter or a good enough belter. And I think that is very similar for me in being mixed race Black. You know, am I Black enough? Am I the right kind of Black? And then the same thing exists on the other side of, you know, just this non-understanding from like Earthers and Martians with Naomi, and I find that with white people a lot. So it's very interesting. And then just the giving myself the permission to exist exactly as I am, no matter how that looks to anyone else. And I think what I love about Naomi is that she's that in spades, really. She very much believes in what she believes in and is who she is, and will code switch and do whatever she needs to do to get by. But at her core is also the want for the relief of oppression for her people. So saying that her and Marco are two sides of the same coin, it again goes back to how one wants to go about it. And I think Dominique is probably more Marco in my kind of, I would say I'm more radical in approach, because I just don't see much change in when you try and approach it democratically. I'm not sure killing a million, squillion, billion people is the way forward, but I mean in terms of what you're willing to do, the like you said, Keon, the short-term uncomfortability for long-term change. So it's interesting playing a character who sits more on the side of there's a way to do it without being radical, because I don't think that's who I am at my core. But yet it is weirdly so comparative to being mixed race Black. And I really enjoy exploring that without it being completely on the nose. And it's been quite interesting for me, actually.